everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome and thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to move right on into the second episode of K4E's 3 for 5, and Jace is not here today to make his appearance because he's asleep right now. Also, his triceratops or triceraflops because it's the end of the week, so you know we wouldn't have him on camera like that, but we can show you him in bed right now so that you guys can feel your connection to him. With that, we're gonna move right on into our first topic, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the watch. And now guys, for my husband you met last week, welcome Charles. Hey.
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for having me back. It's been a while, thank you. Like she said, we're back with the 3 for 5. 3 topics, 5 minutes each. And with that being said, we're going to start the clock. Now. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do in the first topic of forgiveness is we're going to actually define forgiveness as it relates to the Bible. Matthew chapter 6 verses 14 through 15 says, if we receive forgiveness from God, we must give it to others who hurt us. We cannot hold grudges or seek revenge. We are to trust God for justice and forgive the person who offended us. This does not mean we must forget the offense. However, usually that's beyond our power. Not a scripture. This is something that is pulled out and it gives sort of an explanation based on that scripture. You can read it for yourself. But with that being said, I'm going to give the floor to my lovely wife to give her perspective on, actually I think I'm supposed to say it myself first and then give it back to her. Look, it is what it is, y'all. It's, God said forgive, we're supposed to forgive. Do we like it? Does it feel good? Nope. I heard a lot of people talk about, like, after they forgive, that they have this sense of feeling like they felt free and things of that nature. I could say that I definitely have been in situations where I chose to forgive somebody, and I did have this sense of me actually freeing up this weight that was on me, because I realized that I was holding on to some things that were weighing heavy on me, and after forgiving the person, I was able to feel that heaviness and that negativity lifted off of me. What do you think?
Okay, so I definitely believe in what the Bible says all over in many books of the Bible about forgiveness. However, I must be transparent and tell you that forgiveness does not work that way for me. I'm still working on it. I don't know if I will ever be able to achieve it, but it definitely does not feel freeing. I actually feel completely opposite. I feel taken advantage of, I feel punked, I feel played and pushed over, and none of those things are good for me. So how I have, this is why, like I heard many people say to truly forgive, it is something you do for yourself. But I think that my problem is I depend on the other person for forgiveness. What do I mean by depend on the other person? If I have an issue with, let's say you, and you cannot say to me, well, I'm sorry, or I didn't mean to, or I wouldn't do that again, or anything along those lines, chances are, or if you try to justify what you did, or make excuses for it, or just not act like you are sorry, like show no empathy, for me that tells me that if I put myself back in your space again, that you're liable to do it again, and some people don't deserve you twice, you know. So for me, or if you say sorry and continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, for me, what I do is I've grown, because before I would just cut you off, and my cutoffs are clean. You feel me? I don't speak to you. You could be 75 feet tall and I would look over you, through you, around you, and act like you are not present. But I have gotten to a place where I can actually coexist and do the responsible thing and the adult thing and say good morning, good evening, good noon, good night. I can even share a joke if you initiate one, because I'm not phony. However, you will know by the way I treat others as it compares to yourself that you and I are not you are not in my corner. You definitely know that. And I will stay 10 feet away from you, and not like how are we supposed to be 6 feet apart in quarantine? I will just stay away from you generally when we exist in the same space, and I will not share any of my life's accomplishments with you, or if I do, because it's the responsible thing to do, like if it's a family member or something, it will be the day before or right before I share it with the whole world. That will indicate to you exactly how I feel, and I am very much like letting you, I'm doing it in your face. I'm not trying to hide about it. And so that's as much as I could do, guys. That's where the train and the plane and the bus stops for me. That's where I get off. You understand? And I ain't getting back on. And you know, God and I will have to talk about this, you know, on Judgment Day. But for me, that's where I'm at right now. Pray for me, y'all.
7 times 77 times 777. A lot of forgiveness in there. It's hard. I mean, I think, you know, one thing for sure, if somebody's doing something to you, forgiveness doesn't mean that you continue to let somebody do something to you, that you let somebody keep hurting you, and you just go and continually going back into a situation where someone's wronging you. So, I mean, I think those are different topics, but I think this is something that we can dive deeper into at another time in another video. But just wanted to share a quick perspective on that, and we'd love to hear back from you guys in the comments about what you think, so that we can continue the conversation that way. Which is what this is about too. It's really starting these conversations so we can continue them and pick them back up at another time in those comments and in future videos. So,
right, we did well on that one. Right about 5 minutes.
So we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna go into the second topic in this 3 for 5. This one's gonna go a little bit deeper, a little bit juicier. And it's a question, it's something that my wife and I, we've actually debated on, you know, over the years, and kind of dove into in different ways. So here's the question, guys and gals out there. Can men and women truly be friends?
Thank you for being a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Can I start this one off?
Go ahead, honey. Go ahead, have at it.
Here's the thing. Let's be grown for a second, all right? Actually, before we're grown, let's be kids, little kids in school, right? 2nd, 3rd grade. When you're 2nd and 3rd grade, everybody's your friend. Oh, there's little Jimmy, he's my friend. Oh, there's Sally, she's my best friend. Oh, that's Tommy, he gave me a Snicker. He's my best friend.
I'll be there for you.
See, when you're 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, everybody's your friend, right? The stranger walking down the street, your friend. Your teacher's your friend. Your cousin's your friend. Your brother, your sister, your friend. Everybody's your friend. But when you're grown, not to play semantics, but that word friend should not be taken out of context. In fact, we should be very careful with the word friend. Give you an example. If you're a man and you have a female friend, okay, it's like steamed broccoli and chocolate sundae. When you look at a chocolate sundae, you look at a chocolate sundae very different than the way that you look at some steamed broccoli. If you have a female friend and you're looking at her like chocolate sundae, guess what? She is not your friend, okay? In fact, if you don't look at this female friend and every single time you see her, she's not broccoli, she is not your friend. I'm just saying. Now, on the other hand, if you're a woman and you have a guy friend and he's your friend, he's a teddy bear, he's there for you when you need him, all right? Chances are he is having this chocolate sundae and broccoli dilemma most of the time. Or at least he's looking at you very differently and actively than you're looking at him. I think this is different for men than women, but I could go on and on and on, but I think you get the point. I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host right now.
Okay.
Who is a chocolate sundae, by the way?
So for me, I do think that men and women can be friends. But I do think it's more about control. Like, you know, women have, let me not say what women have. I can control myself. I can control the narrative, right? So you are not going to go through life and only find me attractive.
That
or
is not
beautiful.
true. That is absolutely not true.
He knows better. He is being facetious right now. But you're not going to go through life and only look at me and find me attractive. You're going to see other beautiful women, more beautiful than me, that you might feel...
No, that's not true.
That you might feel like not an attraction, but like sexual compatibility, and vice versa. It could be the same for me. However, it is the individual's responsibility to just control themselves. So don't put yourselves in positions where you know that you can fall. So if you go and you get this new job and you find your boss to be a chocolate sundae, do not let him say, "Can we go have a lunch meeting?" No. Or don't let him invite you into the office and close the door and the blinds.
Close the door.
Don't let him do that. You have to just keep the distance and be respectful, and to be quite honest, if you are in a marriage or a long-term committed devoted relationship, anybody that you meet that becomes a friend should be a mutual friend. And if you had male friends before that are important, or female friends before that are important enough to make the rank of friend, then by now in your relationship they should be mutual friends of yourself and your partner. So these side male friends or side female friends should not be happening in a relationship. The significant others should know that they exist and the nature of the relationship. And it's all about control. That's all you got to do in everything you do in life, right? Because allow me to further explain. I go into several stores and I see shoes and bags and lots of things that I find very attractive. But because I want them so badly, do I just pick them up and put them in my purse and leave? No, I don't. I control myself, and I don't steal, and I don't just go and squander my money on something that is outside of my budget. I control myself. And I say it's nice, and I move on. Same thing applies.
See, and can I give another rebuttal? We got time.
Yeah, we got time.
We got time. So I think that's the key, control. I think if you have to control yourself as it relates to somebody else in the opposite sex, they're not your friend. I think that men and women, first off, we're different. We look at each other differently.
Sure.
I think that, I actually didn't answer the question, can men and women be friends? The answer is yes, they can be friends. And I think everybody, this is me getting real serious, my voice got deep and got real serious. I think everybody has to really be honest and own the origin of their relationships and interactions with people. So, yes, there have been women, who I have, whether it be grown up with, and we've been friends. I didn't look at them like a chocolate sundae. They were always steamed broccoli to me. But there were other women over the years that came into the sphere, and it was mostly just chocolate sundaes everywhere. They were not my friends. I didn't call them my friends. I may have been friendly, but that was me being active. That was me making that choice. That was me governing myself. So at the end of the day, absolutely, govern yourself. But be honest with yourself. And if you call somebody your friend, that means steamed broccoli.
Case closed. And that brings us to
third topic. This segues into appropriateness, because with these different friends, with these different relationships that we have with people, this is the primary relationship. This is the first relationship that we have to actually govern, create boundaries, and make sure that we're respecting one another as it relates to all the different friends and different people who are in our lives. But I do think that whoever the friends are, appropriateness is something that's very, very important. I'll give you a quick example, then I'll turn it over to my co-host. So, what is appropriate? What's appropriate is if I have friends, particularly male friends, right? And if one of us goes into labor, guess which one? I have male friends that it is appropriate that my wife gets in the car with them and goes to the hospital. And if for whatever reason, I'm at work or something like that and I gotta rush there, I'm confident and comfortable, and it's appropriate for a couple of these male friends to take my wife to the hospital. However, it's not appropriate for me, married to this woman, to have female co-workers just riding in the car with me everywhere I go. I go to work and I'm going to the store, I'm going, hey, I'll get in and jump in. No, don't get in and jump in. There's a boundary there. This is a place, a seat that's reserved for my wife. Does it mean in an emergency situation I'm gonna let somebody die on the side of the road? No. But you can't make it a habit of constantly engaging in these sort of close quarter, private type things, because you don't want to give room for certain inappropriate things to happen. You have to set boundaries.
Boundaries.
In the interest of time, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host.
Okay. And so for me, the same thing applies. You just don't call the phone late at night. Don't call and say things like, is your wife there? We needed a moment of silence for that one. Don't show up at the house unannounced.
I think both people have to know the boundaries. Look, as much as this, for whoever this other person, this other man or this woman or whatever the case is, I think it starts with us. I think people will do things that we allow them to do. So
Surely.
are there one-off situations where something, perhaps, but I think at the end of the day, once that long-lost friend calls your phone late at night, it's up to you to set that boundary of appropriateness to say, hey, it's great to hear you, long time to hear from, but I'm married now, and this is a more appropriate time to call me. In fact, this is my wife. You introduce them, and you don't allow this person to be a mystery person that just, all of a sudden there's no explanation after they've called. I think that, in a relationship, you owe it to one another to try to make sure you put things on the table so that you don't leave the other person with like guesses and insecurities and stuff like that. That can happen naturally, especially if there's no explanation.
Also, what I wanted to say is, I was losing my thought earlier. With friends of the opposite sex, sometimes when you enter into your own personal, committed, devoted relationship, those friendships kind of have to get watered down just a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Because I might have had a male friend or he a female friend that when something was wrong, we call them up all the time, or that's the first person we call, or like late at night when we were single or just dating, that person could come over and we could kick it, like, because we don't have any restrictions, right? But now that somebody has entered the chat, so to speak, you got to fall all the way back from that, and those things can't happen. So no female is gonna be calling his phone or male calling my phone if something happened to them late at night.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm.
And be like, can you come help me? Call your mom, call your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever works for you, and call somebody else, because I am unavailable. The only person that I am available that way to is who I decided to choose for the rest of my life, and that would be my husband. Now, this is what works for us. What's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander. No. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. That's what they say.
There's gooses and there's ganders and stuff is good for them, and sometimes things ain't good, but if it's good, then it's Google.
What I'm trying to say is, this is what works for us. It might not work for others. So do what works for you. Remember, we do not come here to advise. We just chopping it up and kicking it and making it interesting to keep you guys engaged. And that's it for our K4E episode 2.
I'm working on the hand. We're not throwing gang signs up. I'm working on it. It's gonna come together.
Yes. And now we're going to go into our game of the day for episode 2, and it's who's most likely to. Shout out to my little sister at Tammy Tams for suggesting this game. So the first question is, who is most likely to walk around the house naked? Who's most likely to develop an accent when drunk?
Forget about it.
Who's most likely to give the best massages? Who's most likely to date someone everyone else hates? For sure.
I'm not pointing to me.
Who's most likely to be able to sound like the opposite sex believably? My voice is way too high for that. Who is most likely to search their partner's details online?
Not me.
Where? That's why I pointed at me. Okay? Who's most likely to want more kids?
If I hit that lotto, 10.
From who? Who's most likely to get into a fight? It would be me. I don't even fight with you.
No.
I'm so done with you. Who is most likely to want to make a sex tape?
Thank you, Kim Kardashian.
We ain't giving her no shout outs here.
No, thank you, Kim Kardashian.
That is the end of our episode, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you guys are enjoying this. And we got some really good, interesting stuff coming up for you next. And so stay tuned. Peace out, guys. Stop and let's start again. Because you was just...
Was it stuff you would do? Something, what's it called?
The 220 train tore through the tunnel.
Are you sleepy?
I'm tired.
Long Island.
Wait. I know how you walk right into the boy high chair.
Pips, I hurt my toe. Ah.